Shalom, Barakatah. This is High Priest called Halal of the Law, giving all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh Akah, Yahweh alone, Yahweh only. Understand that. No Bahashem. All right? Now, the title of today's video lesson is Proof the Apostle Paul is a Wicked Heathen. All right? Now, Paul, he wrote majority of the so-called New Testament. And in this so-called New Testament is where you first hear of the Tanakh being called Old Testament, right? Making it seem like the Hebrew scriptures, the Tanakh, is irrelevant by calling it Old Testament and calling the Greek literature New Testament. Yes, the New Testament was originally written in Koine Greek. Okay, so some of our Hebrew brothers and Canaanites that are mixed in with our people, these sorcerers and these deceived brothers, they would like to say that Israelites wrote the New Testament originally in Greek. It was in Edomite Greek Romans, right? But if you say that, then you have to admit that these Israelites that wrote the New Testament originally in Greek, you have to admit that they were Hellenized Israelites. And to be Hellenized, it means that you have took on the customs and the ways of the Greeks. So you have a lot of Greek philosophy in the New Testament that was stolen from Greek philosophers. So that's where you get that from. They are Hellenized. And you got these sorcerers among our people and these deceived, delusional brothers that are among our people, brothers and sisters. You know, they're trying to twist the New Testament, and they are twisting the Hebrew scriptures to make the Hebrew scriptures flow with this Greek literature of the New Testament. And it's just not working. They're trying to make it seem like Paul and the rest of these Greek fictional characters in the New Testament were only preaching salvation for the Israelites. And that's not true. And we're going to be proving that that's not true. They are shamming the people in the New Testament. They are scamming the people in the New Testament, right? They're pulling one over on us, right? These are Edomite Greek Romans that's writing the New Testament in disguised as Israelites, right? And they slip up and let it be known who they really are. You just have to pay attention, right? So we understand that the New Testament is also dark humor from the Romans. So they find it humorous. They find it funny to, take over Israel and mock and scoff our culture and to pull one over your eyes like this, to finesse you like this. right? So we have to understand, we have to pay attention. We have to believe what we read, not read what we believe. See, a lot of these sorcerers, this is how they commit sorcery, by reading something and saying, I know it says that, but it doesn't mean that, Ak. That's just word sorcery, word magic, right? Playing with your mind, right? And like Marcion says through his fictional character, Paul, he says that he used great plainness of speech. So he's not hard to understand, right? So even though he says one thing and then say the other, you can't cherry pick him. You can't cherry pick Paul, or it'll be very confusing for you to understand. He do a lot of babbling, and you have to let him get to his predicate, his punchline, to really fully understand what he is saying. Okay, now I done said it before, and I'm gonna say it again. To be a great Tanakh teacher, to be a great Torah teacher, it's very important that you know the New Testament so that you can pull our people out of it. Now, these sorcerers, these Greek Israelites that's among our people, they can't pull nothing over on me because I'm really learned and skilled in this New Testament. I know it very well, and I can use it against them, right? So I'm going to show you the cuts, and watching my videos, not just this video, but the videos that YOZ dropped debunking the New Testament. Watch them, learn them, take notes, because we give you the cuts and we debunk what they be trying to push, these lies that they try to push. They can pull one over on the regular dumb heathen Christians, right? With their whole twist of Hebrewanity. They can't pull nothing over on us. Paul was a fictional character created by a real life man named Marcion, but Marcion and his fictional character is wicked. Paul was a wicked heathen, Marcion, right? And they drop little clues, pick it up, right? So what we got right here is Hebrews 7:22. And it reads, by so much was JC made a surety of a better testament. Now, these sorcerers, these Greek Israelites that are among our people, that's in Hebrewanity among our people, they like to say that it's all one book, even though it really consists of two books in one, the Hebrew scriptures and the Greek literature. And it's even in all Bibles divided within itself. Once you get to the New Testament, it has a divider. It probably has like a blank page. It lets you know you're getting into the New Testament. It's two books in one. It does not flow together, right? It was not meant to flow together. It was meant to put together to deceive. The New Testament was written to deceive. so that the Edomite Greek Romans can take over the profitable priesthood and put the children of Israel in idolatry with replacement theology, supersessionism, right? And it's important that we know that. It's important that we know that because it's not hard to understand the Hebrew scriptures and the Hebrew God once you read the Hebrew scriptures. He's the jealous God. He hates iniquity. The number one sin is idolatry, and he hates that. We read that he turns away from his people in the Hebrew scriptures once they forsake him and start to serve these false gods. And that makes us weak. So the heathens can see that, but why not these biblical scholars, so-called biblical scholars in the Hebrew Israelite community? Why they can't see it? The heathens can even see it. It's not hard to see. He tells you, go and cry to those other gods in the time of your tribulation, in the time of your need. Let them save you, which means no one is going to save you because those are false gods, right? So if they want to conquer us, they have to put us in the sin of idolatry. And that's what the New Testament is all about, right? These so-called white people, they don't even believe the New Testament. Really, the ones that are the elites, right? The New Testament is to make you just a religious citizen in check and to keep you in line. That's all it's for. To keep you in idolatry and to keep you away from the true light. So work of Lucifer, the spiritual demon Lucifer, had his chosen people, the Edomites, write the New Testament to exalt himself. Because Lucifer wants to be like the Most High. JC wants to be like the Most High. If you see me, you see my Father. Me and my Father are one. Sitting on the right hand of the Most High God. All power in heaven and in earth is given to JC in the New Testament. Sitting down in his Father's seat. He wants to be like the Most High. That's wickedness. And we know from the Most High God's words, from his very own words, that cannot be. Beside the Most High God, there is no Savior. Right? Now let's read this again. Hebrews 7:22. By so much was JC made a surety of a better testament. Now, how is the so-called Old Testament, the Hebrew scriptures, the same as the Greek literature New Testament, when in the New Testament it says that the New Testament is better? It can't be the same if one is better. That's what it's saying here. And it says it again. Let's go to where it says it again. Talk about a precept? Let's match it up. You're talking about a scripture that matched with each other, right? Here it is right here. Hebrews 8:6. But now, has he obtained a more excellent ministry, about how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established upon better promises. It's not the same. They are saying that the New Testament is better. You understand that? These are heathens. Let's go and prove that Paul is a heathen with his false doctrine and his attempts. Let's go to Romans 16:11. His attempts to bring salvation to actual bloodline, authentic Gentiles of the other nations. He want to create an illusion of them on the earth in our position with our covenant with the Most High God on the status of Israelites. That's why he says he's not a Jew outwardly, but inwardly. They are pushing a spiritual Israel, ushering in the heathens, the Gentiles, and they say it. And the only reason why you Hebrews waking up and y'all can't really see it is because of these Christian camps. These One West Christian camps are lying with their Hebrewanity false doctrine. Romans 16:11, salute Herodian, my kinsmen. Now the Herodians, that wasn't a common name, especially in these times. Okay, if you are a Herodian, then you are of the Herodian dynasty. And these were Edomites, Idumeans. The Herodian dynasty was a Edomite dynasty of converts, Jewish converts, right? The book of Esther is so important because it tells the story of how these Edomites became Jewish. We actually converted them, right? Out of violence and fear because, they were trying to attack us and trying to genocide us. But it turned out that Queen Esther gave us the upper hand, and their plans to genocide us backfired on them. And in retaliation, we slaughtered them and made them Jewish. Okay? So Herodians are Edomites. And Paul is saying here that the Herodians, they are his kinsmen. Salute Herodian, my kinsmen. Kinsmen mean blood relative. How can he be from the tribe of Benjamin and blood related to the Herodians, which are Edomites? Okay? Greet them that be of the household of Narcissus, which are in JC. Don't want to say that, right? Don't want to call JC Lord, right? JC. So some people, they don't want to believe this. Let's go get that though. What is that? Let me see. Is that Esther 8 and 17? You got to read the story for yourself. But, right, this is like pretty much the punchline right here in how they became Jewish. This is the predicate right here. Esther 8 and 17. And in every province and in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day, and many of the people of the land became Jews. For the fear of the Jews fell upon them. Right? So that's how Edomites became Jewish. And the Herodian dynasty is a Jewish dynasty of Edomites. And I believe the Jewish people today, they descend from the Herodian dynasty of Jewish Edomites. Okay? Now, let's go to Romans 1:7. Paul, he's trying to usher in bloodline Gentiles, authentic Gentiles, not Hellenized Israelites, right? Not Hellenized Israelites that were considered Gentiles because they were Hellenized, taking on the customs of the Greeks, right? Yeah. So don't believe that, because if that was the case, every last one of these fictional characters in this story is Hellenized, because it's originally written in Greek. Okay. Now, Romans 1:7, to all that be in Rome, all means all. And it was majority white people in Rome, Edomites, right? To all that be in Rome. This is Romans 1:7. To all that be in Rome. That's why I'm saying you have to believe what you read when it comes to the New Testament. And when it comes to the Tanakh as well. Anything else is a delusion. Right? And it's a false doctrine. Don't read into a false doctrine. To all that be in Rome, beloved of God, called to be saints. You got to be careful when you read in this New Testament. It's a book of witchcraft. You know, you don't want to be calling a fictional character God, right? So, to all that be in Rome, beloved of God, called to be saints. Oh, who is the saints? No, let me go and show you who the saints are. And then they'll try to show you that the saints are Israelites, and the saints are Israelites. But here's the thing. You can't be called to be something that you already are. You can't. Can an Edomite be called to be a Caucasian? Can a Chinese person be called to be an Asian? You can't be called to be something that you already are. I don't care if you're Hellenized or not. Your blood is Israel. You're already a saint. You're already an Israelite. You can't be called to be something you already are. You can be called out of idolatry, right? But if you are a wicked Israelite, you repenting is going to make you a righteous Israelite, right? You're still an Israelite, you're just wicked. I can't call you to be an Israelite. You're already an Israelite. Right? So he's talking about the heathen because he tells you that one is not a Jew outwardly, but inwardly. Right? And some will still try to hold on to this. So then that's when we have to go to Philippians. So we go to Philippians 4:21. Philippians 4:21. And here's a precept for your behind right here. Philippians 4:21. Salute every saint in JC, the brethren which are with me greet you. All the saints salute you, chiefly they that are of Caesar's household. So they are saluting Caesar's household. All the saints salute you, chiefly that are of Caesar's household. Salute every saint in JC. So Caesar's household believe in JC. Salute every saint in JC. The brethren which are with me greet you. All the saints salute you, chiefly they that are of Caesar's household. Now, why is this supposed to be rebel Paul saluting Caesar's household? See, this is a myth that all of the apostles was persecuted by Rome and they had their heads chopped off and they were tortured. All this crazy stuff. Peter hung upside down on a crucifix. No, that's all mythology. Why would you believe that? That's not even in here. What's in here is render to Caesar what is Caesar's. Love your enemies and not just your brethren, because even the publicans do so. A religion like that, why would the Romans have a problem with that? Why? They're saluting Caesar's household, right? They have a book called Romans. They have a book named after Titus Flavius. It's called Titus. That's not an Israelite name. Understand that. We have to come out of idolatry, right? So we got Paul brown nosing to Caesar's household, right? Because Paul is a heathen. Let's go into confirm this for real. Paul is a heathen. Let's go to Colossians. Let's go to Colossians 1 and 12. All right. Colossians 1 and 12. Giving thanks unto the Father, which have made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in light. So if Paul is already a saint, why is he saying made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in light? Shouldn't he be saying made you? Right? Why is he including himself in as a Gentile? Right? Giving thanks unto the Father, which has made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in light. Right? Who has delivered us from the power of darkness and has translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son. Okay. So he's including himself in as a Gentile. Right? So what makes you think he's not a Gentile? Because he says he's from the tribe of Benjamin? Okay, let's get that. So he said he's from the tribe of Benjamin, right? Let's go and get that. Let's go to Romans. Because they're all over the place here, man. It's called double speak. Double speak, one word. That's a word with a definition. You know, when you say one thing and then say the other, when you speak out of both sides of your mouth, it's called double speak. And it's a deceitful speaking tactic that politicians use to suppress the truth, to deceive, right? So Romans 11:1, I say then, has God cast away his people? God forbid. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham of the tribe of Benjamin. No, he's not. And we're going to prove that he's not. Even though we've been proving it, we're going to prove it some more. He's not. He's a wicked heathen in disguise as an Israelite to fool the Israelites and to usher in Gentiles on the status of Israelites in the place of Israelites. All right. So let's get that. So you say he's from the tribe of Benjamin. But what about over here, though? What did he say right here? We go to Acts 23 and 6. Okay. Salakia. Bear with me. Acts 23 and 6. But when Paul perceived that one part was Sadducees and the other Pharisees, he cried out in the council, Men and brethren, I am a Pharisee. Okay. Yeah, he was a Pharisee. The son of a Pharisee. So he's the son of a Pharisee. Who are the Pharisees in the New Testament? The Levites. And if Paul is the son of a Pharisee, then you are who your father is, right? Don't all of these Christian lights in Hebrewanity believe that? You are who your father is, right? Well, if you are who your father is, and Paul is saying his father was a Pharisee, he's the son of a Pharisee, then that means he's from the tribe of Levi, right? Men and brethren, I am a Pharisee, a Levite, the son of a Pharisee. Now let's go and prove that the Pharisees were Levites. Matthew 23 and 2. Here's Matthew 23 and 2. Saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. There you go. They sit in Moses' seat. All therefore, whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do. Why? Because the Levites, they are the teachers. They call the shots. They are the priesthood. That's why you're being told to do what they say. But he goes on to say, but do not ye after their works, for they say and do not. Right? So we see the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. Okay? So the New Testament is very tricky. You know, it may appear lawful, but it's all euphemisms and it's deceit, trying to gain your trust to put you into idolatry, right? So what's Moses' seat? The Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. We all know that Moses is a Levite, right? Let's go and get it. 1 Chronicles 23 and 14. Now concerning Moses, the man of God, his sons were named of the tribe of Levi. Why? Because you are who your father is, and Moses is a Levite. So his sons are Levites. Now concerning Moses, the man of God, his sons were named of the tribe of Levi. Right? So if Paul is a Pharisee, the son of a Pharisee, and the Pharisees are Levites, then what do that mean? What is Paul? A Levite. But why is he saying he's from the tribe of Benjamin? Right? There you go. Because it's all false. It's a false story with many holes. It's sloppy. Because it's written by heathens that don't really know our culture to the T like that. They're just writing down the basics that they know, right? And it's really not to deceive anybody that's really zealous, diligent, on fire for the Most High God, really want the truth. It's the lazy. That's who they really are. And that's the majority. Right? The congregation, it's not going to fool the real teachers, and they know that. But they're trying to steal the sheep out of the congregation. Right? So let's go. Let's go here. Because this is a famous one amongst the Greek Israelites that's in these camps out there on the street. They would like to say that Paul agrees with the scriptures and that he's just reciting the scripture and agreeing with the scriptures that the Most High God hate Esau, right? So they will go here to try to cut up a heathen Christian that really don't know much, all right? All he know is what he's been taught in the New Testament, that all he has to do is believe in JC and he will be saved. Easy believism, believe in JC, he will be saved. And the law is done away with. He can do whatever he wants to do as long as he pay his tithes to his Christian church, show up on Sunday, and, symbolically eat JC's flesh and symbolically drink his blood, right? He think he's good. So they can deceive people like that and say, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. And this is why I say you can't cherry pick Paul. This is a cherry pick. You have to let him get to his punchline and what he is saying. Now, just cherry picking this, it will appear that he's agreeing with the scriptures, right? In Malachi 1. As it is written in Malachi 1, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. But then when you go on to the very next verse, right, it says, what shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with G-O-D? G-O-D forbid, right? So it's like, okay, he's trying to explain that. He's trying to explain that verse right there that was written in Malachi 1. Esau have I loved, Salakia, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated, right? So he's trying to explain that. And then in the very next verse, in verse 15, it says, for he saith to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. Now, if he just wants to say, Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated, then just leave it at that. Okay, well, that's what it is. What's up with all of this mercy and compassion talk? See, this is why you have to let him get to his predicate, his punchline, and what he's trying to say. Because he's going to do a lot of babbling. So let's get down to the punchline and what he's trying to say. And we're going to go down to verse 22 in the same chapter. It says, what if God, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction, and that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy, which he had afore prepared unto glory. Even us, here he goes, including himself in as a Gentile. Even us. Who is he writing to? He's writing to Gentiles. So why would he say even us if he's not a Gentile? He would say even you if he was really a Jew, if he was really an Israelite. But this is where the New Testament writers slip up. Even us, whom he has called, not of the Jews only, but even us, but also of the Gentiles, us. He's a Gentile, busted, right? Caught with his own writings, in his own words. Even us, whom he has called, not of the Jews only. So the mercy is not just for the Jews, but who else is it for? Esau. Don't you know the context? Keep it in context. Who is he talking about? Jacob and Esau. The mercy is not just for Jacob. Even us. It's for Esau. He's of the house of Esau. Even us, whom he has called. Not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles. Even us. Right? Then you go to the very next verse, verse 25, and he says, as he saith also in Hosea, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not beloved. Now, where is it in the scriptures where the Most High God is saying that he no longer loved the Israelites? Keep it in context. Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. So now he's saying that it's a prophecy that one day the Most High will love the Edomites, who he said he did not love, who he said he hated. But the scriptures don't say that. Now we can go to where he's quoting from. It does say, I will call them my people, which were called not my people, not which were not my people. Like, he's a scripture twister. Let's go and get that, man. And he's doing all of this just to usher in the Edomites because he's a Edomite. And he's fooling these stupid Christian lights that believe in this abominable New Testament, originally written in Greek. Hosea 1:10, and this is where he is taking from and twisting. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea. Now let me stop right there and add this side note in. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea. Right? But these Jewish people, they only make up 0.2% of the world's population. So this is how we know that they are not the real Jews. They are not real Israelites. Believe kind of what they say when they say that they are Jewish, a suffix meaning sort of, kind of, right? Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured or numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God. Okay. Here in this verse here, it is saying that the Israelites are being called not God's people by other people, not by him. But in Romans 9:25, it's making it seem like the Most High God is saying this about the Edomites, about a people, right? It says, and it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them. So in this place, where we are strangers to right here in America, right? In the land of our captivity, it said that we are not the people. We are not the chosen people, right? But now also, right here in this same place, it's being said that we are the sons of the living God, even by Gentiles nowadays, right? So when we go back here to Romans 9:25, it says, as he saith also in Hosea, I will call them my people, which were not my people. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that the Most High God will call us his people, which were not his people. It is saying that other people will call us God's people. In the very same place where these other people said that we were not God's people. But you see the twist? And the twist is to usher in the Edomites. And where does it say in that verse anything about not being loved? It doesn't say that nowhere. We'll go back here to Hosea. Where does it say that at? And you go to the next verse. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land, for great shall be the day of Jezreel. It doesn't say anything about the Israelites not being loved by the Most High God and then being loved again. Paul is saying that to put a twist on what was written. Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. So keeping it in context, right? Romans 9:25, the only one that was said not to be loved by the Most High God was Esau. So that's why you can't cherry pick Paul, right? Let's go to Mark real quick. Let's jump off of Paul and we're going to go to Mark. And this is what the New Testament writers write about J.C. Idle Shy. Okay? So pay attention. And I'm going to break it down as we read Mark 3. Right? And this is what Judith Nazareth, the YouTuber Judith Nazareth, call him Judith, or Jewish Nazareth. Man, this sucker, right? He playing both sides. He act like a Tanakh only, right? He act like a Tanakh only teacher, but he believe in this book, the book of Mark. He believe in JC. Yeah. So I thought that he repented from that and I accepted him in as a brother. But then I seen that, he was just trying to play it safe. He tries to say that he's Tanakh only and secretly he believe in JC. Secretly he sides with these abominable Christian lights, just like Gorilla Hebrew. He took up for Gorilla Hebrew in that defiled sin and that disgusting act that Heathen did in violating the Israelite sisters with Edomite men. And Judith Nazareth took up for this sucker, right? So we know that they probably, most likely, more than likely, sharing the same defiled behavior with getting pegged and all of that, he's been suspect. Yeah, Judith Nazareth being real suspect though, you know what I'm saying? He probably into that butt play and all of that, so YOZ, we don't associate and we're not affiliated with Torah Knights, Jewish Nazareth. That sucker, right? So we good off that, man. He believed in this book of Mark. Let's go and see what he believes in, you know what I'm saying? Mark 3:1. And he entered again into the synagogue, and there was a man there which had a withered hand. And they watched him, whether he would heal him on the Sabbath day, that they might accuse him. And he saith unto the man which had the withered hand, stand forth. So he's about to work on the Sabbath day. He's about to break the Sabbath because he's a lawbreaker. And this is the JC that Judith Nazareth believe in, the JC that he says is okay to believe in, the real JC. He's kind of bugged out like that guy that died, Rap the News, think it's two JCs within the New Testament. It's a real one and it's a fake one, right? You're going to be destroyed, trying to sit on the wall. Humpty Dumpty is going to have a great fall. But let's read on. And he saith unto them, it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath days, or to do evil, to save life, or to kill. Now, when we read in the law, right, in the Torah, where the man was killed for gathering sticks on the Sabbath, we see that gathering sticks could have been done for some good. But did the Most High God care? Right? Did the Most High God say, this man is an example that you can do good work on the Sabbath day? He's going to make a fire with these sticks for his family to keep his newborn children warm. Right? That'll be good work. You know, you want to keep your baby warm, right? Gathering sticks, right? But he was killed. But they held their peace. Yeah. Let's just see what happens. And when he had looked around about on them with anger, and when he had looked around about on them with anger, being grieved for the hardness of their hearts, he said unto the man, stretch forth thine hand. So JC is angry here that the crowd is not jumping on his side to break the Sabbath. Right? And he stretched it out, and his hand was restored whole as the other. And the Pharisees went forth and straightway took counsel with the Herodians against him, how they might destroy him. But JC withdrew himself with his disciples to the sea. What happened to all of that anger? Why he didn't want smoke? Right? See? He ran off. And a great multitude from Galilee followed him. Okay, who else followed him? And from Judah, a great multitude from Judea. Okay. And from Jerusalem, a great multitude from Jerusalem. Who else? And from Idumea. Oh, a great multitude from Idumea? Oh, those are Edomites. So, JC had Edomites following him. And from beyond Jordan. And they about Tyre. Oh, these are the Israelites' enemies. And Zidon, a great multitude. So, all of the enemies of Israel, when they had heard what great things he did, came unto him. He just broke the Sabbath and ran from judgment of breaking the Sabbath. And the New Testament called this great things he did. But you see that the enemies of the Most High God, the enemies of the Israelites, the Idumea, they followed him because he disobeyed the Most High God. Right? And he spake to his disciples that a small ship should wait on him because of the multitude, lest they should throng him. For he had healed many, insomuch that they pressed upon him for to touch him, as many as had plagues. Okay? So that's what we wanted to get. That Edomites and all the enemies of Israel saw JC break the law of the Most High God and followed him, and they considered that a great thing to break the Sabbath. Now he's getting all of these heathen followers and all of these rebellious Israelites, lawless Israelites, right? So we're going to leave it off right there. We're going to come back with a part 2, right? Yeah, we're going to come back with more cuts on the New Testament, more cuts on the Quran. But it is getting pretty lengthy. This is getting pretty lengthy. And we're going to come right back with more cuts on the New Testament. I don't know what I might title it, though. But you know that it's cuts on the New Testament. Yeah, I just might name this video Cuts on the New Testament. Right? But yeah, coming right back. So we giving all praises to the Most High God, Yahweh God.